Hey guys, Jamie here from My Starless Sky, bringing you the next episode of the MSS podcast. Sorry this episode took so long. The amount of research I had to do for this was staggering. It was pretty crazy. I'm not gonna lie. So, in other news, I got a new job. So it's been pretty tough, but all things considered, it's a move forward. So, that will explain why the quality of this video is much better than the last one, because now it's not being done on my broken phone. It's being done on a brand new laptop. So, yeah, all future videos will be better quality. They might not be as frequent as they were because, like I said, I work now and I work a lot. But I'll try to get them out as much as I can. So with that being said, today's topic is, if you could have 3 superpowers, what would they be? From any pantheon, any, fictional universe, no matter what it is. And before I start, I want you to go in the comments and type what your 3 would be before you hear mine, because I don't want you stealing my ideas. You heard? So with that being said, my 3 superpowers are as follows. The first one, I would want to be a Saiyan. Like the biology of a Saiyan. Not any specific Saiyan, not Goku or Vegeta or anything like that. Just a Saiyan. A full-blooded Saiyan, not a half-blood. Important distinction. The second power I would like to have would be chaos control. Now, I know that that's a kind of unorthodox one, but I'll get into more detail when I explain all 3. So my third power, on top of being a Saiyan and chaos control, will be to be the Avatar. The Nickelodeon kind, not the blue people kind. So, with that being said, I got my script over here. I'm going to get started now. So, and I apologize if I'm a little out of swing. It has been a while since I made a video, so got to get back in the swing of how I normally do it. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to break down each individual, superpower and into what powers it contains within it, I guess, if that makes sense. So the first one obviously is a Saiyan. Now, what that includes is the obvious ones. Like, they have a great lust for battle. They're always trying to fight. Sometimes that can be a bad thing, but we'll talk about that more. Obviously, they have their use of ki, which gives them flight, energy beams. They can sense other life forms. They also use their ki to amplify their speed and strength, and their durability, blah, 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 all that stuff. Everybody knows that Saiyans have a keen fighting sense, so they learn quickly. Obviously the transformations, that's like the bread and butter. They have a high pain tolerance, and they also have a crazy appetite, eating mad bowls of food and stacking them up. So a few of the abilities that some people might overlook are, since Saiyans, the majority of the Saiyan race was born on planet Vegeta. Planet Vegeta has a 10 times Earth's gravity. So their bodies are naturally accustomed to that level of gravity, meaning that on Earth they would be incredibly strong. Although if you're born on Earth, it might be a little different, but I'm inclined to not think so. I'm inclined to think that Goku was an outlier, because a lot of baby Saiyans were sent to other planets to grow up, and they were still just as strong as other Saiyans when they came back to planet Vegeta, and, they weren't stuck to the ground. So that tells me that Goku just, maybe he is short a gene or something like that. So it tells me it's a genetic thing where all Saiyans are able to resist 10 times gravity like it's normal. So, let's talk Zenkai boosts. Now, there's 2 types of Zenkai boosts. Let's call them the pre-Dragon Ball Super and the post-Dragon Ball Super. Pre-Dragon Ball Super, a Saiyan has to get a fatal wound, or a near fatal wound, and then be healed. And then his strength will increase because of the wound relative to his opponent, right? So it's not always enough to overcome the opponent, but you get a different Zenkai boost from Frieza as you do from Dodoria. You know what I mean? So the post Dragon Ball Super Zenkai boost, which is actually confirmed by Akira Toriyama, is that Particularly in the Goku Black and the Tournament of Power arcs, there weren't a lot of outright defeats or near fatal injuries going on. It was mostly like they were just getting stronger as the battle dragged out. So the modern Zenkai boost is just the ability to get stronger through battle as the battle progresses. So I'm going to apply both of those to this hypothetical superhero that I am going to be if I had 3 superpowers. So another ability that a lot of people will overlook is their ability to breed with other humanoids. Now, it may not seem like a superpower, but the ability to pass on your Saiyan genes to your children, that's nothing to scoff at, because you can populate a good portion of the earth with, Saiyan genes if you have quite a few children. So with that being said, like it's your legacy, it's your progeny, you're making others just as powerful as you who have familial ties with you, so obviously they're going to be allies. So it's like you're creating strong allies through procreation. So some other abilities, we got the tails for the Saiyans in Universe 7, Turnuzaru. For the purposes of this discussion, I'm not really going to talk too much about tails because at this point they're basically outdated. But especially because the Universe 6 Saiyans evolved to not have them. And Goku and Vegeta both lost theirs, and so did Gohan, which Gohan is the only half Saiyan to ever have one. So anyway, I'm getting on a tangent. We're not really going to talk about tails too much, but I felt like it deserved a mention. They have their slowed aging process where a Saiyan from around the age of, 18, a normal adult, to around 70 or 80 will look almost exactly the same. He'll stay in his prime. And then after 80, he'll get old really, really fast. And now, like, the reason for that is because they're a warrior race, so they need to be able to fight most of their lives. And, like, but with that being said, most Saiyans end up dying in battle anyway, so they don't get to enjoy the benefits of this. But still worth mentioning that, I'll have an extended prime in my life. So, Saiyans are resistant to extreme temperatures. This is showed with several different, like, what is it, the Android 13 movie where they fight in the Arctic and Goku's like wearing a t-shirt like it's no big deal. Yeah, so they're pretty resistant to extreme temperatures. But it is worth noting that when he went to the center of the Earth, he had to wear that special suit from Bulma in Super. So that is worth noting that he's resistant, but not completely invulnerable too. So to mention their keen fighting sense that they can learn, that's something that's like a lot of Saiyans can do, where they like can learn an ability, especially the Universe 6 Saiyans. They can learn an ability by seeing it once or twice and just do it immediately. Like, a lot of people complained, but Kaba was able to go Super Saiyan immediately, and then he was able to just kind of show Caulifla and she could do it. And same thing with Kale. They just kind of like bullied her a little bit and she could do it. So, that's important. To talk about the transformations, that's like the bread and butter of every Saiyan. We know that. Super Saiyan 1 gives a 50 times boost. Super Saiyan 2 is 100 times boost. And Super Saiyan 3 is 400 times. We know that from the guidebooks. So we'll talk about the God forms a little later. But right now, I just want to talk about the regular Super Saiyan forms along with the S cells, because S cells are a genetic part of Super Saiyan that the author has confirmed. So keep that in the old noggin for now, and we'll come back to it later. Saiyans have faster healing than other humanoid races. It's not like crazy super fast, but it is pretty fast. And when we talk about the God forms, Super Saiyan, regular red Super Saiyan God has been shown to have a healing factor, so we'll get back to that too. I said high pain tolerance. Saiyans also have a remarkable immune system. There's the only thing, aside from Pan having the sniffles in Super, that has ever been able to shown to be like an illness that affects a Saiyan is the viral heart disease. that Goku got from going to Planet Namek. And you could also argue that when Pan got the sniffles, she's only, some people say a quarter Saiyan, but genetics don't actually work that way. She's either a half-blooded Saiyan, a full-blooded Saiyan, or a full-blooded human. And judging by what we see, she's most likely a full-blooded Saiyan. So, because that's how genetics work. That's how they repopulate the race. That's how it works. See Moscow X's video about Saiyan genetics. It's pretty good, and that's actually how genetics work for everything in the universe. So, the more you know, right? So another thing that is often overlooked for Saiyans is they have really keen senses. Smell, hearing, sight, taste, touch, all of them are very, very, very hypersensitive. I'm sure you remember in Dragon Ball when Bacterian, the big, gross, smelly guy, came to fight Goku, or he had to fight Krillin. I remember. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but Goku couldn't even stand up. He smelled so bad to Goku that he almost passed out. I think he did pass out, actually. His head hit the ground. And the only reason Krillin could beat him is because he had a nose. Or he didn't have a nose. Sorry. So that's, worth noting. They have crazy senses. So now let's talk about God Ki. Now, God Ki is not something that Saiyans inherently possess, but we've seen from Dragon Ball Super that they are capable of harnessing it. So when I get into some of the more Avatar abilities, we're going to talk some more about the God Ki, because I feel like that'll synergize real well. And we'll go into more detail. But obviously the God Ki entails not being able to be sensed by normal mortals, as well as a crazy power boost, and the two forms, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, and then also Ultra Instinct, which I don't really look at Ultra Instinct as a transformation. I look at it more as a technique type of thing. I know it kind of is a transformation. I don't know. We'll talk about it later. It's basically precognition hacks. So that being said, the last thing I want to mention about Saiyans is that even though they can go to the stratosphere, they cannot breathe in space. So that implies to me that they have good cardiovascular health to the point where they can survive on a very little oxygen, but they still need oxygen. So they can't, they just can't breathe in space. That's, fact. This has been shown many times. So the next set of powers that I want to discuss is chaos control. And oh boy, are there a million chaos control powers. But I'm going to give you a brief overview because I don't want to keep you here all day. So basically, chaos control powers are with any amount of the chaos emeralds. You can use the chaos energy stored within to do abilities, which include various attacks. You can create distortions in space. You can teleport. You can increase your speed. You can create a shockwave. You can kind of get an aura of invulnerability type of thing. You can manipulate space-time, which is a pretty good god tier power. You can shoot chaos energy. Everybody remembers Sonic Adventure 2 when Shadow goes disappear, and then the three spears converge on the target. So that's it's basically a different type of ki as far as I'm concerned. And there's all kinds of stuff. Now, the other things that it gets is aside from teleportation, blah blah blah, distorting space, warping, there's when you have all 7 chaos emeralds, you can do a super transformation, which is 1,000% boost, multiplier. You get complete invulnerability. You can breathe in space, which makes up for the Saiyan shortcoming of not being able to breathe in space. And the only real drawbacks is that it requires the 7 emeralds, and it has a time limit based on the rings that you have. So there's also been instances of other characters in the comic books, in the Sonic comic books, doing things like mind control and molecular destabilization, which is like insane. You could just like snap and tear someone apart at the molecules. So that's pretty crazy for chaos control. So the majority of chaos control powers are basically going to be buffs to other Saiyan powers and picking up the shortcomings of the weakness. But there are some Avatar stuff going on, pretty cool. So let's get to that now that I bring it up. So the last superpower I want to be is the Avatar. So the Nickelodeon kind, remember. The Avatar abilities, obviously they have all the bending arts, which is fire, water, earth, and air. And it's implied that as the Avatar with Avatar Korra, she was able to learn different master level abilities, whereas like earth bending is like the base level earth bending and metal bending is like the master level earth bending. The Avatar, if they put the time in, they can learn all of the master level stuff. Lightning, the flight that Zahir was doing, blood bending, all that crazy shit. So I'm going to give you a little, I'm sure you already know about the Avatar, but I'm going to give you a little rundown of the four elements and what they, really excel at, I guess. So we're going to start with air. It's focused on speed, evasion, and strong defense. It lacks fatal finishing moves, which is a shortcoming. It also has access to astral projection, which is pretty crazy. That's like one of the master level abilities. And it's the element of freedom. So just keep that in mind. Move on to water. It's versatile, very go with the flow. And it turns opponents' energy against them. You can do things like draw water from plants, the air, sweat, blah, blah, blah. And it's the element of change. It also has the ability to change the temperature of the water, which is like ice and boiling water too, I would assume. Even though we've never seen that. That would be crazy in Avatar if they made the water boil instead of freeze. Holy crap. I never even thought of that. So another thing they have is the healing and the blood bending, which is, opposite ends of the spectrum, but those are two useful things. And waterbenders also have an inherent affinity with the moon. They have a lunar affinity. So if there's ever a full moon, the waterbending is just like way, way, way more powerful. So next, on to earthbending. Now, earthbending is all about neutral Jing, which I guess positive Jing is like being aggressive and attacking, and negative Jing is like being evasive and defending. Neutral Jing, as stated by King Boomy, is stopping and waiting to find out what to do and reacting, I guess. Earthbending has a very stable foundation. It's a very grounded type of fighting. It's all about fortitude, strength, and, obviously being grounded, listening, and waiting. Some abilities that you're going to have access to are the seismic sense, where you can kind of like stomp, like Toph, where you can like kind of stomp and hear the things around you and feel every particle of the earth. Obviously metal bending, lava bending is another ability that could possibly be learned. And earth is the element of substance. Now, fire, this is going to be the last one for now. It's the most aggressive form of bending. It uses chi, which in the Avatar universe, chi is the same thing as ki in the Dragon Ball universe. So we're going to come back to that later. Fire is the element of power. They have a solar affinity the same way the earth or the waterbenders have a lunar affinity. So the comet makes them really powerful, and the sun in general makes them really powerful. They're most powerful at high noon. They can use fire bending to fly, if more like rocket boosting, but they can propel themselves with fire. Obviously they have lightning, and then a master level skill is combustion bending, where you can just blow shit up with your mind. Now let's talk a little bit about the spirit of Rava, which is the spirit that possesses the Avatar, that pretty much makes the Avatar happen and able to learn all the four elements. So the spirit of Rava grants various abilities. The first being reincarnation. When you are the avatar, you die and then you are reborn as the avatar. So we're gonna come back to that with some other abilities soon, but that's a pretty OP ability. You also have the ability to converse with your past lives. So every previous avatar is locked away in your subconscious somewhere, and you can access them through training and meditation. The spirit of Rava also gives you like a spiritual boost, I guess, like a spiritual +2, I guess. And they have an inherent connection to the spirit world, which is a literal physical place that they go to sometimes in the Avatar universe. And last but not least, is the Avatar state, which is this crazy transformation that makes you like an insane sight to behold. Yet, if you are killed in the Avatar state, you will not reincarnate. So remember that. So now that I got through the 3 powers, Saiyan, Chaos Control, Avatar, let's talk about the synergy of how they work together. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the reincarnation of the Avatar with the Zenkai boost of a Saiyan. So with that being said, every time the Avatar dies and comes back, it will come back stronger because of as a Saiyan, because the inherent like Zenkai boost of a Saiyan and the ability of the Avatar. So they will work together really, really well. Not to mention that you can like say, oh, I don't know, when you're going through Saiyan Avatar puberty, you're like, oh, I don't know what to do about all these random things that my body is doing. You can talk to your past lives and be like, oh yeah, that's a Super Saiyan. So I kind of mentioned this earlier a little bit, is that Ki from Dragon Ball is similar to Chi from Avatar. So automatically a Saiyan is going to have an inherent gift with firebending. They're going to be able to use regular energy blasts and also firebending whenever they want, because they have incredible control of their chi, whatever, same thing. And I think that would also apply to chaos energy, because chaos energy is very similar to ki and chi in a lot of ways, even though it's a different energy form. But I guess we'll just leave that separate for now. So let's talk about stacking transformations. Let's assume, right, that I mastered all the God forms and all the Super Saiyan forms, right? And I also have access to this. So let's say I'm Super Saiyan Blue, or even Ultra Instinct, whatever. Let's just say Blue for now. Super Saiyan Blue. And on top of that, I put the 1,000 times boost of the 7 Emeralds Chaos Control super form. So that's, I forgot. I don't know the multiplier for Super Saiyan Blue. It's crazy though. If Super Saiyan 3 is 400, Super Saiyan Blue is like 400 million. So times another 1,000, whatever Super Saiyan Blue is, hypothetically. And then if that still isn't enough, I can also stack the Avatar state on top of that, which would be absurd. I don't even know how to measure that. That's like ridiculous. Now, I mentioned the procreate with humans thing to like, obviously you have to make more Saiyans so that another Saiyan can be reborn as the Avatar, because if you're the last Saiyan or the only Saiyan, the Avatar will die with you, because it has to be reborn as a Saiyan the same way a regular Avatar has to be reborn as a Bender. That's like how it would work. I'm imposing limitations on my own fictional 3 superpowers, because that would make sense. So I talked about having the past lives as your masters. They can teach you techniques, they can give you guidance, blah, blah, blah. Now let's talk about the Avatar state giving you not the Avatar state, just being the Avatar gives you an inherent connection to the spirit world. That is very important, because first of all, let's assume for a second that the spirit world is where, like, the spirit world in Avatar and the afterlife in Dragon Ball are like one and the same, because obviously the universes are joining to create an entity with both powers. So that being said, by having a connection to the spirit world, I think that would let you talk to King Kai. which Kinkai is the first step to learning about the Supreme Kai, to learning about Beerus, to learning about Whis, to learning about the Omni King, and just being in touch with that kind of world. And when you're in touch with that, what does that unlock for you? God Ki, and also Ultra Instinct. So they're already going to be predisposed towards getting the God forms. They might even get the God forms before they get the regular Super Saiyan forms, because Super Saiyan forms are unlocked by rage, and the avatar has to be very calm and meditative all the time. So by drawing the ki into their body, they might accidentally transform into Super Saiyan Blue without even realizing it. So the next one I want to talk about is kind of a crazy little hack here. Now think about this. If I need to have the Chaos Emeralds, right, to turn super and to have all those extra Chaos abilities, which I would probably, to be honest, I would probably lead with the Chaos abilities. I'd probably lead with those and then turn Super Saiyan after if I had to, and then Avatar State if I had to. Avatar is always the last resort, Avatar State, because if you die, you can't reincarnate. So now think, what do we need to find the Dragon Balls? We need the Dragon Radar. Now, what does Earthbending have, and what are Chaos Emeralds? Chaos Emeralds are gems, which is type of Earth. So if you're an Earthbender, you can use your Seismic Sense to find the Chaos Emeralds, like, immediately. So finding the Chaos Emeralds would not be an issue. You would always have them, as long as you have your Earthbending mastered. And that being said, if you want to keep them on you, you could probably Earthbend the Chaos Emeralds. It might take a lot of Earthbending skill, but you could like make them into a belt or something and just always have them. You know, you like Earthbending the Chaos Emeralds would be nuts to think about. Now, and another thing is when you turn super from the Chaos Emeralds, you have a time limit based on rings. You can use metal bending to bring rings to you, so that you don't have a time limit anymore. You can just indefinitely. I think you could probably even make rings. You could probably take the like the iron in the earth or whatever, and like make a ring out of it, and then bam, you got another 10 seconds or whatever. And I'm sure if you're a master level avatar Earthbender, doing that with 100 rings out of the iron in the ground would be no big deal. So the next ability I want to talk about is the Seismic Sense plus your ki senses. So even if you're going up against an enemy who you can't sense their ki, you can still use your Seismic Sense to sense them from Earthbending. So that's very useful. And I think that would also apply to what is it, like the astral projection? You could kind of have like a connection to the spirit world, so the spirits might help you out. So the next ability I want to talk about is waterbending. Now, waterbending, you can heal. And being that you can heal, you can naturally inflict Zenkai boosts on yourself and then heal yourself. It'd be awesome. So you could exploit the Zenkai boost to get stronger, similar to how Goku and Vegeta do in the Gravity Room. So, but it'd be faster because you just heal yourself with the water. You just keep a cup of water over there and just heal all your wounds. Be golden. So the next thing I want to talk about is that in Dragon Ball, they fly with a technique called Bukujutsu. And in the Tournament of Power, Bukujutsu was disabled, so nobody could fly. Now, if you're an airbender, and Chaos Control allows you to fly, but if you're an airbender or a firebender, you can use those abilities to fly. So you have several different ways to fly, even if one or the other is disabled, which is very useful. Flying is a really useful ability. So the next thing I want to talk about is the mastering of the 4 elements. Because you're a Saiyan, you're going to learn them extra quick, because Saiyans can basically see something once and master it. So remember how Aang had to go on a huge journey and it took him forever. It took him almost a whole year to learn all the elements. It would literally take him 4 days. They'd be like, okay, earthbending? Oh, I see. Do it. Airbending? Got it. Firebending? Got it. Waterbending? Got it. Okay, I'm the Avatar. Like, it'd be that simple because you're a Saiyan. And you can just learn anything. So, like, that just... all of those different synergies work together to make you a crazy, crazy being. Like, if I forgot any implications of the three powers that I've chosen to put together and, discuss the synergy of, please leave it in the comments for me. I'd love to hear anything that I might have forgot. So, and also, tell me what you thought. It took a lot of research to come up with this topic and, really flesh it out and do it justice. So I definitely want to hear your thoughts on it. So that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe, smash that bell. You know the drill. And I think that's it for today. So I'm glad to be back, and hopefully all the videos in the future will come sooner and be better quality. So, all right. Have a good day. MSS out.